Joe Rogan is deeply repulsive. So says the head of the ABC, which is the Australian Broadcasting Corporation, in a bizarre attack on Joe Rogan.
I personally find it deeply repulsive.
Yes, and another sign of how out of touch the left-leaning elites are with ordinary people, the much pampered head of the public-owned ABC, Kim Williams, decided to lose his mind over a simple question regarding the most popular podcaster in the world.
What's behind the Joe Rogan effect? How you believe he's managed to so successfully capture this huge market?
While being asked to explain why the TV network he runs is bleeding viewers and why podcasts are much more popular, he decided to go on the attack of Joe Rogan.
According to a new study, Menzies Research Centre says a whopping 2/3 of Australians think the ABC has an inherent left-wing bias. I'm surprised, Stephen Connery, it's only 2/3.
Before getting into the Joe Rogan attack, it's worth noting that the TV network Kim runs receives $1.2 billion a year in taxpayer funding.
You're fucking kidding me.
To run what is essentially a mouthpiece for the left. Now, viewers across all the free-to-air networks are disappearing quicker than Australia's manly reputation, and the ABC is leading the way. And if you're wondering how that $1.2 billion is spent, well, turn on the ABC and you'll be greeted by the wonderful choice of woke current affairs or English BBC dramas and game shows that are over a decade old. Having the ABC for entertainment is like having a membership to an old video store that costs a fortune and hasn't updated its VHS tape collection in the last 20 years. Yet every time you go in there, the weirdo staff starts screaming at you about what a terrible person you are.
Those words were invented by white men for the benefit of other white men in systems and institutions that were always designed to be for white men.
Let a former board member of the ABC board explain the ABC's outlook.
But the whole grand narrative they have, mate, is how we're a heartless, ruthless nation that wouldn't open our borders. We're bedeviled by ignorance on climate change, which is, going to destroy the world. We're culturally backward. We're all racist. We're all sexist. We're homophobes. We're Islamophobes. We're destroying the land on which we live. There's nothing celebratory, about this country in the narrative, the grand narrative of the ABC.
The ABC was set up to foster Australian culture. Australian culture needs some fostering. They also have a charter that they have to be impartial.
As you know, the ABC is required by law to be impartial. Many viewers have long known that's not the case.
Let's look at an example of their impartiality. One of the most embarrassing uses of the Australian taxpayer's dollar is the ABC's weekly show dedicated to American politics, Planet America.
Hello there. Welcome to Planet America. I'm John Barrett.
And I'm Chaz the Jedi.
Yes, that studio set is in Australia. Let's take a look at how this ABC investment sticks to the rules of being impartial.
Donald Trump, the disgraced one-term, twice impeached, criminally convicted president who was widely seen as an unelectable pariah after he incited a deadly insurrection on Capitol Hill on January 6th to stop the certification of his valid election defeat last time. Less of a surprise that the same president-elect, twice impeached, indicted on close to 100 counts, convicted of 34 felonies and found liable for sexual abuse.
So we're forced to spend time and money on fighting crooked Joe Biden. Now we have to start all over again. Shouldn't the Republican Party be reimbursed for fraud?
In fact, Trump thought it might be a conspiracy.
Biden never had COVID. He's a threat to democracy.
And the ABC's News YouTube channel doesn't even try and hide their bias. Here's candidate 1 in the recent US election. And here's candidate 2. Look at those truly impartial thumbnails.
Just Google Willie Brown and Kamala Harris and talk to me about her qualifications.
Maybe while you're there, you might want to Google Seb Gorka Nazi.
Now, the attack on Joe Rogan started quite innocently, with a local reporter asking about the Joe Rogan effect, which is basically his popularity and how the ABC could learn from that, which is a good question. Hardly anyone is watching the ABC, and those that are all over 80 years old.
I have a question about Joe Rogan, and you've sort of touched on elements of this in the US. He's obviously the world's most popular podcast host. He has 3 billion listeners. He's sort of managed to successfully capture that bro market in America.
Sadly, our interviewer here couldn't disguise her own bias by stating that Joe Rogan has captured the bro market.
Capture that bro market.
Straight after also saying that he has 3 billion listeners. 3 billion seems quite beyond the bro market, but then bro has just become the left's word for men. Men that like being men and who enjoy manly stuff. I'm guessing there are also a few women in that 3 billion listener figure, but they'll just ignore that.
And his influence is such that in the wake of the US election, the Democrats have said that one of Kamala Harris's mistakes was that she didn't appear on his program. So I'm just wondering if you had any observations about what's behind the Joe Rogan effect, how you believe he's managed to so successfully capture this huge market. And then for us here in Australia, how would or should the ABC be going about capturing that kind of audience?
Our ABC head Kim, I'll never trust a man with the name Kim started off mellow saying that he isn't the right person to ask because he doesn't really know Joe Rogan or listen to his show. So I'm guessing he won't have much to add regarding the podcast content or its quality.
Look, I'm not sure that I'm the right person to respond to that question. I am not a consumer or enthusiast about Mr. Rogan and his work.
Shocking.
I am not one of the 3 billion. And I'm unlikely to be 3 billion and one anytime soon.
So, not the smartest answer from the head of a dying network and a dying form of media. He should probably have some thoughts on why his job is becoming irrelevant. But Kim is one of those super arrogant people who thinks he's above the field he's working in, the entertainment industry. And what's more annoying is he works in the entertainment industry that's paid for by the Australian taxpayers. But we'll let him go on. A real quick break to thank today's sponsor, Exeter. It's that time of year again when you have to start dropping hints about what presents you really want for Christmas. Don't settle for boring socks again when you can have a modern wallet from Exeter. Yes, ditch the oversized boomer wallet for a super slim Exeter wallet and you'll never look back. Exeter wallets are half the size of conventional wallets, but they can carry over 12 cards as well as cash. They come in environmentally friendly materials like vegan Italian leather and space grade aluminium, or as the Americans say, aluminum. And they also have built-in RFID blocking that protects you from data theft and wireless skimming. And my favourite feature is their signature trigger mechanism for when you need to pay in a hurry.
Hey Robot Head, feel like coming back to my place?
Check please. And with that gift giving season just around the corner, Exeter wallets make the perfect gift.
This is for being on the nice list.
Exeter also have a full range of accessories, including trackers, so you will never lose that wallet again. Make the most of Exeter's current Black Friday sale where you can get up to 50% off. And if you use my link in the description and my personal discount code ROBOTHEAD, you'll get an additional discount on top of the web sales. Go to Exeter today and get a wallet you'll enjoy using.
I think people like Mr. Rogan prey on people's vulnerabilities. They prey on fear.
Wow, Kim, that's a huge opinion for someone that doesn't even watch the Joe Rogan show. Yes, the dope-smoking comedian who likes long conversations with all types of people and who has organically become very popular is apparently preying on people's fears. This is from the head of a TV station that pushed the government's COVID narrative.
2 COVID jabs could effectively give you 90 to 100% protection.
And also told us that Trump was a literal Nazi.
They prey on fear.
And Kim knows a bit about fear. Check out this recent thumbnail from Kim's ABC News In Depth YouTube channel.
Prey on people's vulnerabilities. They prey on fear.
Kim also says that people like Rogan prey on all the elements that contribute to an uncertainty in society.
They prey on anxiety. They prey on all of the elements that contribute to uncertainty in society.
The elements that contribute to uncertainty in society aren't caused by podcasters, they are caused by governments and lawmakers. Podcasters just talk about those issues. So what Kim is really saying here is that he doesn't want the common man podcaster having these discussions. Kim wants to control the narrative and dictate his lofty opinion on what is the cause of problems in society. His way of thinking is how all legacy media thinks. That's why we've seen so many public breakdowns from the legacy media since the US election. They do not like that people have woken up to the fact that the legacy media is full of shit. But it's his last line that's really mind-blowing.
And they entrepreneur fantasy outcomes and conspiracy outcomes as being a normal part of social narrative.
What fantasy outcomes and conspiracy outcomes would he be referring to? Could it be how COVID was handled? How the US election was going to turn out? What about Epstein's Island? Now, we all know that Joe Rogan loves giving space to conspiracy theories. Moon landings, CIA operations, Epstein's death. Epstein's death, that's the one that all brought us together. Kim doesn't get that it's when the fantasy and conspiracy outcomes being part of social narratives becomes normal, meaning when those conspiracies turn out to be true. That's when everyone starts taking notice. And when organisations like his, the ABC, ignore those facts and don't want to report on those conspiracies coming true, well, that's when we know who's telling the truth. But let's hear more from Kim because I'm sure he has a reasonable explanation for his word salad outburst.
I personally find it deeply repulsive. And to think that someone has such remarkable power in the United States is something that I look at in disbelief.
The hate that the people like Kim and the legacy media has for people having a voice that isn't theirs, is astounding. This man runs a completely left-leaning network that gets, as I've said, $1.2 billion a year of taxpayers' money, and he is outraged that a comedian with a microphone is more in touch with the people than he'll ever be. Kim is also outraged that Rogan has so much power.
To think that someone has such remarkable power.
The talk of Rogan having power comes from the idea that he had an effect on the US election outcome. Yet Rogan's power actually comes from him letting people just talk to the public. A forum he offered to both sides of the election. He offered both sides an equal voice, something Kim's ABC has never done.
Crazy Kamala is saying she's Indian, not black. This is a big deal. Stone cold phony. She used everybody, including her racial identity.
And just to point out to the rest of the world, $1.2 billion is a lot of money in a country with only 26 million people, especially when only about 1 million of those people even watch the ABC.
I personally find it deeply repulsive.
Repulsive is an extreme response to the fact that there's someone out there having a conversation and an opinion you don't like.
I'm also absolutely in dismay that this can be a source of public entertainment when it's really treating the public as plunder for purposes that are really quite malevolent.
This here shows exactly how people like him here, the upper class, left-leaning, or what ordinary people call wankers, think. What they think of the everyday man having a conversation. Apparently, having a conversation is malevolent, which means having a wish to do evil to others. That's what a conversation is to this guy. What an absolute clown.
Old white men mostly, who are saying, no, we want to keep our hands on everything.
Joe Rogan's responded to this clip with the perfect everyman response. LOL, what? So why did Kim go on an unhinged personal attack on Joe Rogan while representing the public broadcaster? Well, like all the crazy flip-outs from the mainstream media we've seen lately, it's mostly based on anger and fear. Anger and fear because the legacy media's domination of the narrative is coming to an end. People are waking up and realizing that the old media lies to them because the old media is bought and paid for.
We went from Walter Cronkite basically to this guy Joe Rogan who believes in dragons. I checked it. He believes in dragons. He believes in dragons.
Did you triple force that?
Yes, I did.
Legacy media is losing its grip and is dying. And for me, it can't come quickly enough.
I personally find it deeply repulsive.
Of the privilege that they have enjoyed their whole lives that they are trying damn hard to hold on to.
Oh, well, it doesn't really matter what Kim thinks because after years of woke crap, there is a feeling that the world is starting to heal. I just hope that healing spreads across to Australia sooner rather than later.
Good day.
Because sadly, we seem to have a lot of Kim types running things here.
I personally find it deeply repulsive.